Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
Welcome to Simply Stogies Presents Cigars and Coffee. I am one of your hosts, James. Joining me as he does every time we do this, it's Tim. Tim, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. That's only the second time we've had to do this intro today.
Good times for sure.
It's a hot, muggy mess here in the Midwest, and I forgot to turn the air conditioner off, and the unit is sitting literally right to my right, and it switched on right before we recorded. So, the title of this episode is Fast Food Coffee and Cubans. I am smoking an H. Upmann half Corona, as is Tim.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're smoking the exact same thing, right?
Yes.
All right. I like it.
Do you like it?
Well, I like the fact that we're smoking the same thing. I haven't determined yet if I like this cigar.
Well, we'll find that out as we go through this episode. Before we get too far into this episode, I want to remind everybody to go to creativebraincandy.com and check out some of the great podcasts we've got there, including Tim's podcast, Eyes Forward March, and Bad Gamers Anonymous. This week on Bad Gamers Anonymous, you can check out a special guest host, me, as we talk about Ghosts of Tsushima, or Tsushima, depending on which character in the video game is pronouncing that island.
So it's not Ghost of Sushi Man?
No, it's no. I don't, where do you, no, it's not. No, not even close.
Yeah.
So how have your last 2 weeks been, Tim?
Busy. I feel like this is the first weekend in about a month that I actually get a little chance to, or a little time to enjoy to myself. Like I was telling you before the show, hopefully this afternoon the weather cooperates and I get to take the boat out on the water for a little bit. So that'll be a good time.
That will be a good time. I really need to nail down this green screen as it moves behind me because it's
I think you should just leave it alone because it's absolutely hilarious to me that it bothers you so much.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea.
What did we spend? I think we spent about 10 minutes before we started recording just listening to you complain about that green screen.
Yeah, well, welcome to my life. I complain about a lot of stuff just because I can. The production value on this show is certainly low budget right now, but we're working on it.
It shows.
It does show. But we are working on it. We've got some things in the works. You're just going to have to bear with us for a couple of months, and we'll see how that all pans out. As you can see the siding of my house behind me.
Oh, it's a beautiful siding, too.
So the coffee today, let's talk about coffee for a minute.
All right, let's do that.
The coffee today is fast food coffee. And as you can see, I've got a giant, crappy McDonald's coffee in front of me.
And I am drinking a very lovely large turtle mocha from the Caribou Coffee Establishment.
Which, Caribou Coffee fan, are you?
A little bit. A little bit I am. But here's what I'm not a fan of. If you're a coffee shop, like coffee is the name of your shop, quit serving food through Drive-Thru. I literally sat there for 20 minutes this morning to get a single cup of coffee as I watched all these cars in front of me order $30 worth of food each, and it slows everything down. So if you want food, go in and get it.
And
don't get it in a drive-thru.
Tim's rant for the episode.
Oh, man. Hot and heavy.
Fast food coffee is not typically my go-to coffee. I am a basic coffee bitch, but typically when I drink coffee, the coffee that I drink is Death Wish, Valhalla Java, Odin's Force Blend, or just the regular Death Wish.
Which I still need to find in the store if I ever go back to a store.
When the Rona is over.
When the Rona is over.
But I am not a big fan of fast food coffee, but when you think about the amount of coffee that fast food places do, it's kind of insane, and it's a little bit insane that they don't they don't take better pride in it. Now, that said, in the last decade, McDonald's, for example, has changed their entire branding around it. Now they McCafe.
Ooh, it's got to be mixed something.
And my parents actually are more basic bitch than I am because they like McCafe coffee.
Oh, wow.
They like it out of the Keurig.
Like no. I understand saying, McCoffee is good enough when I need a cup of coffee fast and you run through the drive-thru. But, like, to drink it on a regular basis, put it in your Keurig? Like, why would you spend $100 plus on a Keurig just to put McCafe through it?
Yeah, I can't answer that question because I wouldn't do it. Now, is it better than Folgers? Is it better than Maxwell House? Is it better than the random stuff that you can pick up at the store? Like, I guess that's my question. I think when we talk about premium coffee, and I say I'm basic and I just like Death Wish and Valhalla Java's Odin's Force blend, right? Those are premium coffees. Is McDonald's coffee a premium coffee now?
I can't imagine that it is. I mean, maybe in the cult of McDonald's it is, but I mean,
what about Starbucks? Is that
I actually dislike Starbucks wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I do too.
I like usually if I have to go to Starbucks, I'm gonna get like a caramel macchiato because it's about the only thing on their menu that I can tolerate drinking. One time I ordered a black coffee, and after I had to explain to them what a black coffee was, I got it, and it was just absolute horrible. I don't know if it's like they use an espresso bean for everything, and that's all they have, or what. I've never worked at Starbucks. I've never actually sat down and talked to somebody who works at Starbucks, so I don't have any inside knowledge.
I don't know that I would care to talk to somebody from Starbucks.
Oh, if I met somebody who worked at Starbucks and took coffee as passionately as somebody who would work at a coffee shop, I would say that I would want to get some inside knowledge. I would have to. I'd be curious.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because I was looking today and I was reading some things about coffee this morning, and they say that pouring boiling hot water over coffee very slowly is the best way to get the flavor of the coffee. Do you drink coffee for the flavor, or do you drink coffee as a tool to wake up?
A little bit of both.
Little column A, little column B.
Yeah, column A, B. Yeah, I mean, I definitely drink it as a tool. Like I need that caffeine. I can go a few days without it, but then I start to get like I've got to punch something or drink some coffee. But it's got to also taste good. Like, I can't do Folgers without a whole lot of help from some sort of mixer or something like that, like Bailey's or Henry McKenna's or, something.
So you put stuff in your coffee.
I will, yeah.
See, I'm a black guy. Just give me coffee black. I want it straight. When I walk into a Starbucks, I tell them, I'm like, I just want coffee. Like, I don't know. I don't want I don't want something special. I don't want something, that I can't pronounce. I just want coffee and I want it black.
Yeah. And I, for the longest time, I drank coffee black and I don't have a problem doing it, but it's gotta be a good coffee. A lot of I used to be when Dunkin' Donuts came to the Midwest, I was all over that because I'm originally from the East Coast. So Dunkin' Donuts is my jam. And I drank that probably for a year. And then after that year, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they changed the bean, the blend, whatever, but it just became so acidity, the acid levels were so high that I couldn't stand drinking it black anymore. So now I'm kind of jumping around trying to find something that I can tolerate black. And like I've said before, Cafe Bustelo that's my favorite go-to coffee. And as long as I brew it very light, then I can drink it straight all day long.
I'll be honest. I think smoking a cigar with coffee helps with that acidity. Helps with I do. It cuts through it. And I'll be like this Mick Cafe when you were talking about the acidic content. I was like, yeah, there's some coffees that do that, but this Mick Cafe doesn't seem to have a very high acidity level, and it's actually, to be honest, it's smooth, and it's certainly smoother than the Valhalla's Java, or at the same level of smoothness, but it's certainly smoother than the regular Death Wish.
That's interesting. I'm probably going to have to swing through a McDonald's drive-thru and try a cup then, because the last time that I remember having McCafe, the acidity level was just through the roof, and it just tasted like, I don't know if you've ever left a coffee pot on overnight and the next morning you were like, yeah, screw it, it's hot coffee, and I don't have to. Okay, well, I've had to do that before, and it's horrible. That's
just burnt.
Yeah, it's basically burnt. It's basically like having a little bit of motor oil left after changing the oil in your car, and instead of trying to get rid of it through the hazardous waste management program, you just drink it.
Drink it.
Pretty much like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's gross. Why would you do such a thing, Tim? I mean, I suppose if you're in a pinch.
Weird metaphors.
Okay, well, I meant the coffee, not so much the oil, but okay.
Oh, the coffee? Well, because very often I'll get to work and be like, crap, I forgot. I used the last of the coffee grounds yesterday.
No, well, that'll happen. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this H. Upmann half Corona Cuban. Look at that ash. Now, look, there's a lot of things that I will complain about, that I will bitch about when it comes to Cuban and their communist quality control at their cigar factories. But I have to say, now this has almost 3 years of age on it. It has, right. This is one of the better ones that I've seen. It's not plugged. It is, and I keep everything at 62. All my
and
this
one was gifted from you, so it's the exact same.
Yeah. So how is it treating you? Is this your first Cuban?
It's not my first. This is actually, I can't remember. I want to say you sent me 4 or 5, and I think this is number 2. I'd have to look. Now, the first one, and I don't remember which one it was, and it doesn't matter, but it was like, I don't know, I just kind of, back to the metaphor. It was like licking the week-old grass off the bottom of your lawnmower. I didn't like it at all.
Oh, all right.
This one actually isn't bad. It's you mentioned, I don't remember if you mentioned it before or after you started recording, but you mentioned a saltiness, and I did get that. As soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, I got that. But one of the things I'm a type of person that I give a lot of credit to what I'm pairing, the drink that I'm pairing with my cigar, and the company that I'm having. What am I doing? So this experience, recording on here and doing this and drinking the coffee, it's a little bit muggy, but it's just adding to the experience.
A little bit.
So it's definitely going to get extra points for experience.
The wind is actually helping. There's a little bit of a breeze, as you can see.
Yeah, I have none.
That's helping. Yeah, so it's not too terrible. I am a big Cuban fan. I really am. Yeah, you do know this. I like a medium to mild cigar. I love it. Now, I don't smoke a lot of Cubans. I think about 350 Cubans now, and then I don't smoke.
There's going to be a knock on your door.
Right. I don't smoke. Look, they were given to me by friends, my man.
That's right.
My guy, as the kids say, look, my guy, they were given to me by friends. And I like that medium to mild to medium. Jesus, I can't talk this morning. I haven't had enough of this Mick Cafe, or it's just not strong enough. Probably the latter. And so that profile speaks to me, and there's a twang. You always hear aficionados talk about the twang. And there's certainly Cuban cigars just hit different. They hit your palate different. I really enjoy them, and this happens to be one of the first Cubans that I'd ever smoked.
So let me ask you a question in regards to Cuban cigars, because I'm not up to speed on Cuban cigars at all. I know they exist, and I know quite a few people who enjoy them and rant and rave about them. And when I got into the cigar scene, the people who I were around in the cigar world, distributors, vendors, manufacturers, whatever, they always told me that Cuban tobacco is kind of junk right now because of Cuba's history. All the crops have been fried. The soil is junk and da-da-da-da. So the tobacco that's coming out of Cuba is really not worth anything compared to all the great tobaccos that are coming from everywhere else in the world that is perfectly legal. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, is there any truth to that? Is there, like, I don't know. And
let me put it to you this way. Let me try to break that down and unpack some things. So first, are Cubans better than Nicaraguan or Dominican or any other tobacco on the planet? I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody to say, that you're not going to find great sticks out of those countries. I think you will. I think that there are comparable sticks, especially when you start talking about Castagli and some of the smaller boutique and Davidoff. These companies go to great lengths to really find that profile. And then you have companies like Padron, which are unique and fantastic and just straight chocolate. Now, is the soil fried? Like, look, you have to understand that number one, Cubans are legal everywhere else on the planet but here. And there's a lot of reasons for that, most of which is probably just American pride that we don't want to say, okay, fine, let's just lift the embargo.
And don't paraphrase everything that I said. I mean, this was back in 2008, 2009. So
sure,
I'm
but
sure that, like,
so
as I remember it, I'm asking.
No, look, it's funny to me.
And
I'm not going to mention.
No,
I'm not going to mention names, but there have been those in the industry that I have talked to through the course of doing the podcast and doing things with Simply
Being
Stogies.
part of the
Club.
scene,
yeah. That they will absolutely mock Cuban cigars. And they'll talk about the crappy quality, and they'll talk about quality control, and they'll talk about how, there's not proper farming because they want the money, and they want this and they want that. And there might be some truth to that. There might be a grain of truth to that. But you also have to remember who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to me that those folks within the industry and around the industry, as my green screen starts to fall over.
I was just waiting for you to interrupt and talk about that damn green screen.
These folks in the industry, and I think a good example of this is the film Hand Rolled.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the film.
I have several times.
Out of one side of most of their mouths, they will decry, deride, mock, and tell you that Cuban cigars are not what they used to be, and that they're a terrible product. And then out of the other side of their mouth, they'll say, "But we've got a Cuban profile. Like we do our best to make something that's similar to a Cuban product." Are Cubans special? You know what? I think there's a mystique behind it because of the embargo. I think there is a that adds to the mystery, that adds to the allure of Cuban cigars. But like I just said, they hit different. If you taste an HUHC and then you go taste an Arturo Fuente short story, two completely different profiles, two completely different flavors. Is one better than the other? I mean, I have my preferences, but objectively, no. They're both cigars, and they're both premium cigars.
Well, I mean, I guess you can kind of bring that back around to smoke what you like. People who smoke the premium infused cigars, they rant and rave about them. Not my thing. But I'm not going to discredit them. I mean, they have a market share, and people enjoy them. I've had some before. They're just not.
I will mock them. No, I won't. It's just not my thing. But I think there you're comparing. I think you're comparing apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. Where here, when you talk Cuban cigars against any other cigar in the world, you're still it's apples and apples. Now, Can we talk about some communist quality control? For sure. We absolutely can. Because you can open up any box of Cuban cigars and the majority of them will probably be plugged unless you let them sit. In proper humidity, about 62%, or you dry box them.
Is that something that you find quite often?
Unfortunately, it is.
Is like when you get your hands on Cuban cigars, they're just really fresh. They're very green. They just need to go into your humidor and sit. Yeah.
Well, look, we could talk about communist business practices, and I think that's different than.
Well, I don't want to get.
Well, look, they need the money, and they went through their stock of aged tobacco a long time ago. And so there's no more aged tobacco in Cuba. So everything is rolled and it's fresh and they probably let it sit. I would say maximum 6 months, maybe sometimes a year. It depends. Maybe the Cohibas sit a little bit longer just because of that's like the luxury brand out of Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, when you buy a box of H. Upmann half Coronas and you buy them anywhere, and if you buy them on the island, you're not buying 2 or 3 or 4 year old boxes. You're not buying tobacco that's aged 2, 3, or 4 years. You're buying tobacco that's been aged probably maximum 6 months, and to be realistic, probably a little less than that.
Right.
And so it's up to you to age them. So as an aficionado, as an enthusiast, as somebody who purchases cigars even directly from the island, it would behoove you to let them age for 2 or 3 years before you start popping them open. Now, there are some exceptions. The first exception that I can think of is Juan Lopez, number 2, QDO 50s, Cuida Orce 50s. And then I think there's another one that I can't remember, but those are actually pretty good young. They don't have the harsh young tobacco flavor. There's not a lot of ammonia. That kind of thing. So there are some that you can purchase, but if you're purchasing directly from the island and you're not purchasing through other means, make sure you freeze those bad boys. No, seriously. Otherwise, you'll get beetles.
Yeah. No,
but
I knew where you were going.
Yeah, if you're purchasing them, secondary market, they've probably already been frozen. You're fine. I've never frozen any. And in fact, the only beetle hole I've ever had in a cigar, which freaked me out, was one that somebody sent me. And I remember that. I didn't catch it first when I first put it in there, and so when I saw that,
I think you sent me a picture like, what is this? Trying to see if I was thinking the same way you were thinking.
Yeah,
that don't look good.
No, it doesn't.
Turned out okay though.
Yeah, I tossed the stick and there was not a beetle infestation. It was just one little hole. So, all good. So that's my thoughts on Cubans. That's my thoughts on, as far as I'm concerned, just drop the embargo already. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I would agree there. I think if they drop the embargo though, because I think that's part of from my foxhole. I feel like people, when I smoke a cigar, people come up to me like, I used to smoke Cubans, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, fantastic. I don't care. They're almost using the Cuban cigars as a way to say, oh, I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, well, I know my last deployment, they had a little shop, and they were selling Cubans. And you can go online and see how... First off, you can go online and see okay, this is how a Cuban, when you look at the foot and you look at the tobaccos and how it's bundled and bunched and you can see, and if it looks like that, then there's a chance it might be real. But when it's just it looks like it was just a bunch of leaves just rolled like a freaking Little Debbie snack, it's probably not real. Probably not real.
You bring up a good point. And if you go listen to the episode that I did last year with Joe from simplystogies.club, our Cuban expert, we talk about, I think, what to look for a little bit in fake cigars. Look, if you're buying a Cuban cigar, buy from someone who's trusted. RSVPcigars.com, I Havanas, Monte Fortuna. Those are friends of Habanos. Those are the ones that I would trust more than I would trust anybody else. You've got to be very careful. If you're in Mexico, Like, don't buy Cubans unless you're buying it from a La Casa del Habano. But
Right.
even then, you've got to be aware of fakes. Cubans don't come in glass-topped boxes.
Nope. Or plexiglass.
Or plexiglass. So if you're on the beach and someone comes up and you're smoking a cigar and they're like, hey, I got some Cubans, and they show you a box that's got a glass top on it or a plexiglass top, guess you should just run.
Yeah, that's actually the one that I remember vividly from that little shop I was talking about. They had all these boxes, and they're like, oh, great deal, great deal. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
no.
I would love to pay you top price for floor shavings.
Right. And if someone gives you a Cuban and you find out that it's fake, please don't smoke it.
No.
Cut that thing open. Now, in some cases, I've heard, they cut it open and it's all long filler, and it's just another cigar that they had purchased and slapped a band on, right?
Right.
In some cases, it's shavings and mouse droppings and rat droppings and
whatever they sweep up off the floor.
plastic and metal, and you don't
Somebody's tooth.
Don't smoke fake Cubans, please don't. There's your public service announcement for the day.
The more you know.
So you really are digging this. You really like this one. You're not just saying it for the sake of the video.
No, I do like this one. Now, about where the tip of my ash is right now, I did get this really bitter coating, but it literally just lasted that one spot, and now it's back to normal. So I mean, it's pretty mild medium, but with the coffee, I'm digging it. I'm digging it with the coffee.
It's definitely a good pairing with this coffee, even the McDonald's McCafe bullshit coffee. I like the ash on the Cubans. It's darker, and I think that's from the minerals in the soil, which is what makes Cuban cigars unique. You can't recreate. You can't copy that.
Right, that's true. I did have a little itty bitty burn issue, like it wanted to go out. Put a little bit more light on it. It's going good.
I have not had to relight mine, haven't had to touch it up. And to be honest, I haven't even been paying that much attention to it because we've been having this wonderful conversation that we call Cigars and Coffee.
Oh, yeah. Or are we doing, I thought it was Drive-Thru coffee and Cubans.
Yeah, sure. Drive-Thru Coffee and Cubans. That's what we'll name this episode.
Yeah. Because, mine's not really fast food coffee.
Well, yeah, because your food wasn't fast. The people in front of you took 30 minutes.
Yeah. I didn't get food. I go there. I'm like, and they really need to rename. Oh, the breeze is finally picking up. It feels good. They need to rename the turtle mocha, large turtle mocha with milk chocolate. They need to rename it to something where I can just pull up to the drive-thru and be like, the usual. And they're like, oh, welcome back, Tim. Because this is the only thing I order there.
Is that what you got? A turtle mocha with milk
large
chocolate?
Turtle mocha with milk chocolate. It's the only thing I order there.
I got coffee black.
Yeah, I do too, but it's just got some turtle mocha with milk chocolate around it.
So I'm looking for a new co-host for this show.
Please submit your application to info@simplystogies.com.
Oh, shoot. I'll put a link in the show notes down below. You can check out some of the Simply Stogies podcast swag we've got. We've got all kinds of merch. You can also check that out at creativebraincandy.com. And then click the merch button at the top, or simplystogies.com, and down at the bottom, the very last link on the right in the footer, click that. That will take you to the merch as well. Again, make sure you check me out on Bad Gamers Anonymous this next week, where we talk about Ghost of Tsushima. Great game, by the way. If you're a video gamer and you have a PS4, you really need to play this game. It's fantastic.
I'm going to get it eventually.
It's the Assassin's Creed Japan we always wanted.
Ooh. I've seen some videos of gameplay. It looks slick as hell.
The combat is smooth. I could give you my review, but regardless, it's a 10. This is game of the year. This is game of the year material. If you're a gamer, play this game.
Better than The Last of Us 2, which I still haven't taken out of the plastic.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I wasn't a big The Last of Us fan. I'm like, this is stupid.
I liked the first one, but I'm like legitimately probably only like 2 hours into it.
Yeah, I played it for like a hot minute, and I'm like, this is just silly. It's just a lot of running around stealth, and you can't like just. That's the great thing about Ghost of Tsushima. If you want to go stealth, you can, but you certainly don't have to. You can just be like, screw it. And you can like challenge guys as you walk up to like some installation that the Mongols have. In this installation, you just challenge guys right off the bat.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then everybody
I'll
rushes
probably
you.
end up picking it up because I actually was thinking about picking up the that Star Wars, the last one that came out, the Fallen Order.
That's pretty good too.
It's down to like $30 now.
Pretty good. You should pick that up.
So that's probably, I'll wait for Ghost of Tsushima until it's like $30.
You know, for a game that's all about the weapon, and you are the weapon as a Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima does it so much better.
Really?
Yeah. Really good. That's the show.
Yay.
Join us next time when we'll be drinking some coffee and smoking some cigars. Until then, that's Tim.
Hello.
I'm James.
Goodbye.
Stay smoky, friends.